Hey guys, today we're going to do the unboxing and overview of the Corsair K70 RGB Pro mechanical keyboard. So basically I just bought this keyboard because my current keyboard, which I've been using for over 4 years now, is the Roccat Vulcan 121. And yeah, it's beginning to show its age, and I've been having some issues with it. So this is my Roccat Vulcan 121, and we'll be doing a comparison between this current keyboard I'm using and the Corsair in this video here. But yeah, this current keyboard, I mean, it still works fine for the most part, but just sometimes I find like the keys they register twice when I'm only pressing like once, and it happens sometimes, and it does annoy me and everything. So yeah, I think this keyboard is getting a little bit used too much because I do a lot of typing, a lot of gaming and everything. So as you guys can see, it's really, it's heavily used and dirty because I have been using it a lot over the past 4 years. Yeah, so anyways, this is my current Roccat Vulcan 121 keyboard, and yeah, it is having some issues right now, and that's why I decided to get this one. So a little bit of background. Yeah, Corsair is a computer components company. Most people probably know them for their RAM and hard drives, and they also make PSUs and really all sorts of computer components, cases, cooling parts. I think they really started out with the RAM, and then they kind of branched into everything else, including gaming accessories like keyboards and mice as well. So actually the reason why I got this keyboard is I was looking at all these other brands, right? Like the Asus ROG or Razer or Steel Series, yeah, HyperX, like all these other brands. But I already have a Corsair mouse that I'm using, which is the Night Sword. So I figured, might as well just stick with Corsair because I already have their mouse anyways. And this keyboard really just has everything I want. I'm not looking for the latest and greatest. I'm not looking for like an optical switch or a magnetic switch. I know those are kind of the latest technologies, but I'm not really the competitive gamer. I'm just looking for something that can just do the basics, right? Give me like just a nice mechanical keyboard that has the media controls, and I wanted the full numpad because I do use the extra number keys here, like I do enter Excel and spreadsheets and that stuff sometimes. It's just really nice for entering numbers actually. And yeah, I just want the basics. Give me a good volume wheel, some media controls, the numpad, doesn't take up too much space, and give me some nice mechanical switches that are tactile, right? I'm not looking for the red linear switches. I'm looking for the tactile ones. That's why I went with this one, because it has so Corsair, I think, is the only brand I've seen, one of the only brands I've seen that uses official Cherry MX Brown switches. The other brands I've seen, they use some kind of other switch that tries to duplicate Cherry MX Browns, like a Kaio switch or Gateron switch. Those are some other switch brands, but Corsair just sticks with official Cherry MX when it comes to mechanical switches, which is, yeah, Cherry MX is one of the original brands of mechanical switches before like all these companies started making gaming switches now. So yeah, I got the MX Browns because they're a nice midway between the linear switches, which are the reds, and then the really clicky blue switches. So I didn't want too clicky, but at the same time I didn't want like too linear either and too quiet, because I want to have that tactile feeling. So yeah, tactile and soft. So tactile, non-clicky is what I wanted, which basically I've been using Browns for a long time. They were on my Logitech Orion keyboard back in the day as well. But yeah, let's see, it's got, this retails for $160 US, pretty much the same as my Roccat Vulcan 121 as well. They're both $160 brand new. Of course, now you can get it for cheaper, as I did on sale, because it's a few years old now. But yeah, you got the aluminum frame. That's the same as my Roccat. This has a special processor, Axon, 8 times faster processor. Okay, apparently the polling rates are really good with this keyboard. PBT double shot keycaps. I'm really interested in that because my Roccat Vulcan only uses ABS, and yeah, you guys can see this W key is already starting to wear off, right? So these keys will, wear off over time, and I'm hoping that these PBT double shot keycaps on the Corsair will not wear off as much as it did on my Roccat. But we'll see. And they even put a PC editor's choice on there. Okay, if you do care about PCMag.com, I guess they give a good review to this one. But honestly, they give editor's choice to a lot of stuff. And yeah, the RGB Pro. This is like their mid-range keyboard. Their top of the line is like the K100, and then they have the ones with the optical and magnetic switches. But yeah, I find the Cherry MX Brown keys, they're good in between. Like you can use them for gaming, and you can also use them for typing. They're good for both, right? So they're tactile but not clicky. So just a good in between type of switch. On the back here, aluminum frame with per key RGB backlighting, Axon hyperprocessing technologies, transmits inputs up to 8 times faster. 8 times faster than what? Well, driving up to 20 lighting layers, okay? 20 lighting layers, that's quite a bit. 100% Cherry mechanical key switches. Like I said, Corsair is one of the few brands I know that actually have official Cherry switches. A lot of the other brands tend to make their own switches, like Razer. Roccat actually uses their own switches as well. Or they use like a Kai switch or a Gateron switch or some other switch. But Cherry, the official Cherry MX, yeah, I've seen only Corsair and a few others, like a few other brands use them. PBT double shot keycaps, again, I hope this will be a little bit more durable than my Roccat. A detachable USB-C cable and tournament switch locks macro in lighting. Because when you're actually, you know, gaming in a tournament or whatever, you want to not be distracted by the RGB lights, and you also don't want to accidentally hit a macro either. But that's okay, because this keyboard doesn't even have macro keys, right? Because I don't use macros. So I did not get the K100 and you know, those more advanced keyboards because I don't need macros. I don't use macros. Yeah, so anyways, let's take a look at what's inside the box here. Okay, this is brand new, shipped directly from Corsair themselves because they were having a sale. I actually got this for about $120 US. Like I said, they used to be $160. So yeah, got a bit of a discount there. Okay, so you got the keyboard itself. Then you have warranty guide. And what else? Do you really need a quick start guide for this? Well, maybe you do, because these keyboards can actually be pretty complicated with the lighting stuff and the software, right? You need to download the software. Oh no, it's just safety and compliance and warranty. Okay, whatever. I know you probably need to download the software, right? IQ, I think it's called, for Corsair. I don't really use the software, honestly. I use the Corsair Night Sword mouse, and I never use the software with it. Comes with a detachable wrist rest. Same thing came with my Roccat as well. I don't really use it because I have a gel wrist rest I use instead from HyperX, so I don't use these non-gel ones. These ones are honestly, like, I know they come with them, but and they're fine, right? You can use them, but I'm not going to use these. Like, they're plastic, right? I just use a gel wrist rest instead. So the gel wrist rests are a lot more comfortable. So I'm not gonna use this plastic wrist rest, even though it does come with it. Okay, and comes with this nice high quality USB cable. Actually, it's nice and braided. Yeah, pretty thick and high quality. USB-A to USB-C. Yeah, high quality braided cable there. That's it. So, pretty basic wrist rest, USB cable, and the keyboard itself. Let's take a look. All right, Cherry MX Browns. I've used MX Browns for a long time, or actually I should say MX Brown equivalents, because actually no, I did use official Cherry MX switches on the Logitech Orion G610 I had before. So I did use official Cherry MX Browns before. This is probably the second time I've used it. My Roccat has its own switches that kind of emulate the Browns. So yeah, this is probably the second keyboard I've used that has the official Cherry MX Brown switches. And they're nice, right? This is what I want. Not too clicky. The blues are really clicky, right? Not too clicky, but still tactile. I want to have that tactile feedback. I know that the modern switches, like the magnetic and optical switches, tend to be like linear, which are meant for gamers and stuff, and that's a little bit, it doesn't give me enough tactile feedback, because those are just meant to be like just fast. But yeah, that seems nice. Alright, so, okay, I'll just leave that there for now. Yeah, let's take a look at this keyboard features. So you have the USB-C input on the back here. I think, is this the tournament switch that they're talking about? Tournament switch deactivates the RGB lighting, the macros. There's no macro keys on this keyboard anyways, but deactivates the lighting probably. So you pay more attention to the game. Made in China, obviously. And yeah, Corsair is an American company. You have these right here, so you can lift it up from your desk. Yeah, and I also owned a Corsair keyboard in the past. This is not my first Corsair keyboard. I own this K65, which is wireless. So I've owned it in the past. I've had experience with Corsair keyboards. So generally, they're pretty good quality. Yeah. Although the K65s, I think, was it the Cherry MX Browns I got with it? It might have been. So maybe I did use another, yeah, maybe I used the K65s, and I think those also had the MX Browns. And these do feel kind of the same as the K65s that I used. Of course, this design and layout I like better than the K65 actually, because I get the full size, yeah, numpad right here with the media controls on top, the roller. Yeah, I like to have a nice volume roller here. So Roccat uses something that's like a rotary dial. Yeah, this one uses a roller. I think these days you tend to see rollers a little bit more than dials. But yeah, I had this on my Logitech Orion keyboard before as well. So you have a roller right here for the volume. Ooh, nice, and I like doing that. I'm one of those guys who likes to fidget around. So anyways, I don't want to do this accidentally all the time. That's just for adjusting volume. And then you have a mute button right here. Very handy. So volume up and down, mute. Media controls that are dedicated, which is always nice. So stop and previous and play pause and next. Good for, you know, playing YouTube videos or VLC, whatever media player that you're using. And you gotta have the full-size numpad here. I chose the one with the full-size numpad, even though I know 10 keyless is probably more popular these days. Yeah, I used to I used to go to 10 keyless a lot back in the day, but nowadays I find myself doing my financial stuff as well. Like I'm entering month numbers, you know, a lot when I'm doing like taxes and things like that. And then I find like, yeah, that's useful to have the numpad here. And it's not just taxes and financial stuff. It's like just, yeah, in your everyday web browsing, you probably enter numbers a lot more than you think. So it's useful to have a numpad here. It's just so much easier to enter numbers compared to using the top roll here, right? So I used to like 10 keyless just for the compact form factor, but now I kind of want to have this numpad. By the way, my first mechanical keyboard was 10 keyless. That was the Aorus K5 Thunder all the way back in 2015. That was one of the first mechanical keyboards out there, I think, that was 10 keyless. And yeah, I got that. Yeah, that was a pretty thick keyboard at the time. That was pretty good. But yeah, mechanical keyboards have evolved a lot in the last 10 years, let's just say. Okay, so nice numpad here, and you have all your typical buttons: print screen, scroll lock. I wonder who actually uses scroll lock and pause break. This would be pause, break, and scroll. Who actually uses those keys? I don't know. And then everything else is nice. Just the feeling is really nice here. And then here you have, I guess this will be launching the Corsair software, maybe? Or this is lighting, of course. This is the lock for, is this, well, num lock is right here, scroll lock. Okay, and caps lock right here. Yeah, so I don't know what this lock would be, actually. Locking something, I guess. In lighting and maybe opening the software. I have to check when I hook it up to my computer. And then you have a nice aluminum build here, so it's a nice build quality. Yep. Okay, and see the stems right here. So you can compare this Corsair K70 to my Roccat Vulcan 121 here. The Roccat is actually a little bit lengthier. So it's actually nice that the Corsair is a little bit shorter, right? So it takes up less space on my desk. So that's nice. So the Corsair is a little bit shorter. Key quality, I mean, the Corsair uses official Cherry MX Browns, whereas the Roccat uses tactile Titan switches, which are their own design, but it's meant to kind of emulate the feeling of the Cherry MX Browns anyways. So it's kind of similar. I've never had an issue with the Roccat Titan switches with the feedback and stuff. It's just that now, like, yeah, some keys might be, yeah, double registering a keystroke, and that's not good. I think if I use the official Cherry MX switches, maybe that might be more reliable. But yeah, anyways, I've used this keyboard for over 4 years, and yeah, it was, for the most part, it was good. Controls are pretty much all mostly same. You're talking about a US keyboard, right? The only thing is the media controls here, so it doesn't have the extra stuff here related to the, I guess, the lighting and the special software. But it does have the dedicated media keys here. It does have media keys here, but they're almost like secondary functions. Yeah, so the media keys are on these top function switches as secondary functions, but the Corsair has them as dedicated switches right here. So that's nice on Corsair, actually, that they have that dedicated. Then, of course, this is what I'm talking about. The volume knob or dial here for adjusting the volume. I use this quite a bit, actually. Kind of a preference thing. Do I want to have the roller, or do I want to have the dial? I think that the dial is a little bit more precise because you can adjust it, you know, bit by bit, like this. Whereas the roller, it's like if you want to adjust it bit by bit, you can just, like, you got to be more careful, you know. Like the roller, you have a tendency to just over adjust or under adjust. So I feel like for more precise adjustment, the dial is a little bit better. Mute, and this is the lighting button. Actually, this lighting button might be similar to this lighting button right here. So I think this serves a similar functionality. So adjusting the different kinds of lighting functions. You'll have like different patterns that appear on this keyboard. And then this is for this is actually changing between function, the lighting function, and the volume. So actually this knob on the Roccat, it will either change between the lighting patterns, so you'll adjust the lighting patterns using the knob, and then if you want to switch to volume adjustment, you just click the volume adjustment button. So that's really switching between the different dial functionalities here. Other than that, the other thing you might notice is that aesthetically the Roccat Vulcan looks really good. I know my keyboard itself doesn't look good right now, but yeah, I mean, for someone who actually cleans their keyboard more than me, yeah, like the thing about the Roccat Vulcan I like is the fact that the stems are transparent. So when you hook it up, like this entire stem glows up, and it looks really, really nice because they do have the like compared to the Corsair, right? So the Corsair is a little bit more normal when it comes to mechanical switches. Like they have a little bit of a stem right here, and most of the height here is taken up by the actual keycap, right? So the difference between the aesthetic design here is that Corsair is a little bit more conventional here. You got a shorter stem with like a bigger keycap here, right? Whereas with the Roccat Vulcan, it's kind of unique because you get a wider, like a taller stem, I guess. Yeah, a little bit taller stem, and it's transparent, and then you get a short keycap. Yeah, so the short keycap makes it so that the wider stems here and transparent, they can glow with the RGB, and it shows more basically. So yeah, you guys can basically see because it has such short keycaps on the Roccat Vulcan. So this whole thing will glow up. And then when the RGB is glowing, like this thing just really lights up. Whereas compared to a normal keyboard, like the conventional keyboard, I should say, with the Corsair K70, then you'll see it lighting up, but it's like it's pretty much only the keys, right? Like, yeah, only the keys here, but nothing underneath the keys can be seen that much because it's covered by the keycap. Yeah, whereas with the Roccat Vulcan, shorter keycap, you can see the entire stem light up. And I'll hook it up to a computer to show you guys exactly what that looks like and what I mean. So if you look on the back here, obviously it's also made in China, but the Roccat Vulcan also has the little keyboard risers as well that lift it up from the desk for a more ergonomic typing experience. That's what I always use with it. Of course, Roccat is actually a German company, so it's designed in Germany and assembled in China, as you can tell. Nowadays, Roccat does not really make any products branded Roccat anymore because they've been taken over by Turtle Beach. And for a while, actually, like I believe this is still made by Turtle Beach. Interesting. Like I think that Turtle Beach has owned Roccat for a while, like for the past few years, but just recently, you don't see any Roccat branded products anymore. They're all branded Turtle Beach now, which is unfortunate because I would have preferred that Turtle Beach keep the Roccat name, because the Roccat name has been there since what, the mid-2000s. It was actually started by an ex-Razer employee, believe it or not. And yeah, it's been known for high quality keyboards and you know, nice, well-renowned German brand. I don't know why Turtle Beach was just stop using the Roccat name and start using Turtle Beach, because honestly, when people think about Turtle Beach products, they don't have as high quality of an opinion as with Roccat products. Roccat is just known for higher quality products, right? So I don't know why Turtle Beach did that. They should have just kept the Roccat name, but they rebranded all their keyboards now Turtle Beach, which doesn't really, like, I don't really want to buy a Turtle Beach branded product, honestly. I'd rather it be branded Roccat. But anyways, yeah, just a little tidbit info there. Roccat is owned by Turtle Beach and no longer makes Roccat branded products anymore, unfortunately. Alright, so now I have the Roccat Vulcan 121 keyboard hooked up to my Fujitsu U939X, which is a convertible laptop. So I have it converted into the stand mode, essentially. That's just to show you guys, you know, easier the screen on the laptop here while I type things. So yeah, I have it connected right now. And the thing is, I want to make a correction about the Rockat's functionality. So yeah, when the button's on the volume, yeah, when you hit the volume button right here, then you can adjust the knob and it'll adjust the volume as you would expect, right? So yeah, adjust the knob, it adjusts the volume, and then when you mute, it'll mute the volume. When you go to FX here, this actually does not change the lighting type. I made a mistake there. It actually adjusts the brightness of the lights. So you can turn it down like this. I don't know how easily you guys can see that, but I turn down the lights and I can turn up the lights by doing that. Yeah, so basically if it's on this FX position right here, the dial controls the brightness of the RGB. Yeah. Does not control the type of RGB lighting, which I thought I was able to change, but apparently you need to have the Roccat Swarm software to change the lighting effects. So I don't want to download the software, and plus I'm using Linux on this computer anyways. So yeah, I didn't know that I had to download the software to change the lighting effects, because I thought that you could change it without downloading the software, but from what I read online, you need to have the Roccat Swarm software, which is, yeah, not really the best to use. I don't really like to download all the software on the computer anyways. But yeah, I thought that you could change all the lighting effects without using the software, but I guess not. Yeah, this FX button is just to adjust the brightness of the lights instead. Anyways, this is the default lights that the default RGB lighting that the Roccat Vulcan 121 comes with. Is this yellow, orange, red type color, I guess. This is just the default. But you guys can tell it looks pretty cool, right? Because, like I said, you have the transparent stem here, and then very short keycaps. So the transparent stem, very short keycaps, and basically when this thing lights up, it really lights up. So yeah, you can easily see it from very far away. So anyways, it makes quite a striking effect when it lights up like that, and that's one of the things I like a lot about the Roccat Vulcan is this design here, having the short keycaps. That's something I wish more keyboard manufacturers did. But anyways, typing experience is pretty good, so you know, I can do just typing something on the terminal here. Yeah, so yeah, anyways, typing experience is generally pretty good. It's just that sometimes, because this keyboard is old and I've used it for a long time, it misregisters or double registers a keystroke. It happens sometimes, yeah. But anyways, it's still usable for the most part. I just don't like it when sometimes I'm typing and I have to double check to see whether or not, you know, I made a typo because it typed twice. Yeah, anyways, everything works here. Yep. So still pretty good, this keyboard. Yeah, still pretty good. It's just yeah, sometimes it misregisters a keystroke, so that's essentially why it bothers me, right? That's why I tried changing my keyboard now. So yeah, I'm pretty used to using this keyboard. I've used it for many years. Yeah, like adjusting the brightness here, the volume. I use this a lot, quite a bit, and just like muting, unmuting, and I do like the striking RGB effect from the short keycaps here. Yeah, definitely a really nice looker. Another thing you can do with the Roccat is that it has these indicator lights down here for the different locks. So your num lock will, yeah, see, this is another thing that's not working well on this one anymore. Num lock is actually supposed to light up this one, but it's very faint. But caps lock, this one is still working, so you can see caps lock will light this one up, and then scroll lock will actually, ooh, this has a game mode. I didn't even notice that. What's that game mode do? I don't know, but scroll lock, see, lights up this one there. So yeah, that's all the different status indicator lights, which is something that the Corsair doesn't have, because the Corsair I think might just light up the keys instead. We'll see. Anyways, that's all the functionality of the Roccat Vulcan 121, and now it's time to check out the Corsair K70 RGB Pro, which I do appreciate the fact that it's a little bit shorter than the like, it's a little bit smaller in size, so it's a little bit more compact than the Roccat, but only by a bit. Yeah, ooh, look at that. Okay, so this is the RGB lighting of the Corsair. Yeah, one thing I noticed is that the Corsair K70 has this entire row up here that has the logo and the volume wheel, the mute, and these extra keys here. Whereas the Roccat Vulcan, see, it takes up the same amount of height actually, see? Yeah, it's actually not even taller than the Roccat Vulcan is, but the Roccat Vulcan doesn't have that extra row, so that's interesting. So I think the reason why the Roccat Vulcan is like the same height despite not having that extra row is because of these extra status indicator lights. So they basically you have basically you have all the space here for the status indicator lights, and then up here I'm not really sure why they have all the space above the keys here. I think it's just for their logo here, but yeah, I don't know. They have all this extra space and then space down here. Whereas the Corsair K70 doesn't have any extra space below the keys, but it has all this extra space up here, but that's for use with the logo, and you have some extra keys here. So anyways, I just noticed that being an interesting difference is that they're pretty much the same height. Yep. And that's despite the fact that the Corsair technically has a few more keys. Yeah, because it does have a few more keys. Okay, so like the Roccat does have instead of this, it has like the volume, mute, and stuff there, but then it doesn't have this extra row up here with buttons. Anyways, yeah, typing on the K70 is pretty good. Maybe a little bit better than the Roccat Vulcan. You guys can hear that the noise the keys makes is different too. Just listen to this. Now listen to the Roccat Vulcan. Yeah, they're different, right? I think the Corsair is a little bit more noisy. It's a little bit louder, and then compared to the Roccat Vulcan. Yeah, there's some asthma for you guys. Yeah, the keyboard asthma. Yeah, the Corsair is a bit louder. I noticed that. Typing feel wise though, it's very good. Might be a little bit better though for the typing feel compared to the Roccat. So even though it is a little bit louder, I feel like the typing feel is a little bit better on the Corsairs. Yeah, RGB lighting, as you guys can tell, is different. Yeah, this starts. So the Roccat you guys saw, like the lighting effect is pretty much static by default, and I didn't install any software, by the way. So Corsair has the IQ software, Roccat has the Swarm software. This is just the default lighting. The default lighting for the Roccat is just more of like the plain red, orange, was it red, orange, yellow, like that type of lighting, and it's kind of static. Whereas on the K70, as you guys can see here, it has this kind of wave pattern that just alternates between all the different colors by default. So I'm just comparing the default lighting here without installing any software. Okay, and aside from that, yeah, like I said, typing feel, I like the Corsair a little bit better. I can tell that the plastic or whatever material that they're using on the keycaps is a bit different on the Corsair. Yeah, it definitely feels a bit firmer. Like it has a bit of texture to it on the keys. I think that's because of the PBT double shot keycaps here, whereas the Vulcan just uses ABS plastic, right? So yeah, I can tell that the whatever material that they're using the keycaps, it definitely has more of a texture to it on the Corsair compared to the Roccat. The Roccat keys just feel more smoother, and these feel like they have a little bit of a texture to them. Anyways, let's see what else. All the other keys, you guys probably know what they do. It's a num lock. Ooh, it does have status indicator lights. Okay. Yeah, so the status indicator lights is actually up here. See? That little num lock there is actually doing that. Caps lock is doing that. So there is status indicator lights. It's just up here, whereas on the Roccat it was down there. Interesting. Mute, of course, that should work. Muting and adjusting the volume. This is more of a smoother adjust, definitely, compared to the dial. Yeah, the dial is like a little bit more granular and more precise, I feel, whereas this scroll wheel here is smoother. Lets you do like, I guess it depends whether you want to adjust a lot at once. If you want to adjust a lot of the volume at once, then this is better, right? Like this volume wheel is going to do it more smoothly. But if you just want to adjust in increments, I think the dial is still better for that on the Roccat. This is a media buttons. yeah, I don't think I need to test these. You guys know what they do, right? Play, pause. This will work on media players, YouTube, whatever. Play, pause, next, previous, stop. Works. Okay, so I had to do some research on what this lock button does, and you do see this in the indicator here as well. But the lock button here actually just disables the Windows key, so you don't accidentally hit the Windows key when you're gaming, which is pretty useful, honestly. My old Aorus Thunder K3 keyboard, the first mechanical keyboard I ever had, did have a button that actually disabled the Windows key as well. It is kind of useful because sometimes you might accidentally hit the Windows key when you're doing something. Oh, look at that, I just accidentally hit something. Yeah, you might accidentally hit a key. It happens more often than you might think, and then disabling the Windows key is a good idea. Yeah, a lot of games use Control and Alt, and the Windows key is right in between there, easy to hit accidentally. Okay, I'm guessing this is the Corsair software key, which I don't have the software installed right now, so it doesn't do anything, but I assume that launches the IQ or whatever Corsair software. I'm not going to use that one too much. So this one is the lighting, right? So this adjusts the brightness of the lighting. So yeah, similar to what the Roccat does, except the Roccat you can adjust it with the dial, but here you just have to keep pressing it. So that adjusts the brightness. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's the Corsair K70. Overall, I think I do like it a bit better than the Roccat. I do like the fact that it's a little bit shorter, so it takes up less space on the desk, a little bit more compact, while keeping pretty much all the same features. The only thing I think I might like the Roccat better on is just the aesthetic design. Like, yeah, you can see like this RGB is good, but it's not quite as eye-catching as the Roccat Vulcan stems, right? So yeah, you guys can see the stems here, but it's like, because the keycaps are just normal size, it's blocking a lot of the light from the stems, whereas on the Roccat, you guys saw that the keycaps are very small and thin, so the stems just kind of light up, and it just really makes for a nice visual effect. So I think aesthetics-wise, I do like the Roccat Vulcan, but to actual functionality-wise, I think this Corsair has a little bit more of it. Mostly the same keys, right? It's like nothing. It's not too different, but I do like the fact that you get the keycap materials, I think, is a little bit better. It's got better texture to it. The official Cherry MX switch, I think, is a bit more preferable to the Roccat's Titan switches. Yeah, I think they're a little bit more reliable because, yeah, the Roccat switches are starting to, yeah, they're starting to fail on me. At least one of them has. And yeah, volume wheel, this volume scroll thing is it's a preference thing, right? Do you want the scroll or do you want the dial? I think they both have merits to it. This has more buttons on the top row. Still has the status indicator lights for the locks, so that's still good. So anyways, overall, they're pretty, like, they're both $160 US, so I am comparing them like this, like they're direct competitors almost when they first came out. But I do think the Corsair I like a little bit better, except for the aesthetics of the Vulcan and maybe the dial, like the volume dial. I do like the little granular, more precise adjustment of the volume on the Roccat. All right, just to show you guys the media player buttons working. Yeah, I can do like play, pause, right? Play, pause, play, pause. Yeah, so that works, no issue. Yeah, overall, I think I like the Corsair K70 a little bit better. I like the official Cherry MX switches better than the Roccat Titan switches. I think they're a little bit more reliable. And yeah, the keycap material I think is a little bit better. They're both aluminum based, so they're both well built, but just the keycap material I think is a bit better on the Corsair. It's a double shot PBT instead of ABS. And yeah, I do prefer the dial from the Roccat, so that's one point to the Roccat, and I do like the design, the stem design of the Roccat more. But other than that, I think for functionality wise, I think the Corsair is a little bit better there. And yeah, it has one extra row here, a little bit more keys, and a little bit more compact too. So yeah, that's it, guys. Also, yeah, the media keys, I think they do have dedicated media keys, whereas on the Roccat, it's a secondary key mapping. So yeah, the media keys on the Roccat is yeah, so on the Roccat you have yeah, the secondary key mappings for the media controls, whereas here you have dedicated media controls. So that's another point in favor of the Corsair, actually, and the fact that you just get better I think a more cooler default lighting out of the box with the Corsair, not just some static standard lighting. But that's just a nitpick, I think. Anyways, that's it, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. The Corsair K70 Pro or the Roccat Vulcan 121. They're both the same price, $160 US when they were first released. So yeah, it's they're pretty much direct competitors. Just let me know which one you guys like better in the comment section below. Also, it's a bit of a nitpick, but the Corsair does have an extra button to disable the Windows key, which Roccat does not have. So yeah, there's that as well.